Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we take a look at the astrological energies from July 7th until July 14th, 2021. We have some active energies that are actually winding down, as we've seen in the past week, both Mars and Venus in Leo interacting with Saturn and Uranus. And now they are going to make a conjunction beginning at 18 degrees of Leo until 21 degrees of Leo. That will begin around July 11th and last for a few days. We'll call it until about July 16th. So we're going to have a number of days where Mars and Venus are conjunct, and I did a separate podcast episode for you on this topic, so I won't dive too much into it here, but it is a main theme over this next week. It also corresponds with Mercury clearing his shadow, where he will no longer be in that retrograde shadow and will finalize the journey in Gemini and then move into Cancer. And Mercury will enter Cancer on July 11th. Now, at this time, we also have the Sun moving through Cancer, through the middle of Cancer and entering the third decan. And so when we look at the astrological energies, we're trying to really feel into and understand more of the overall themes, what is happening and what is coming up here. And what is going on with the strong Cancer energies and the strong Leo energies is that we're really maybe going into understanding more of what we need, what feels true and authentic, what is a clearer connection to our internal world, what's happening within us, especially after a lot of energies pulled us out of a comfort zone. And so there could have been a lot of growth that has transpired over the past 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. It can feel like there's never-ending growth really in these energies. But what is cycling through us now is I'm seeing it as when a river starts to run clearer. There's less sediment, there's less mud, there isn't anything in the water that is cloudy or murky. The water is clearing. There is a filtering and a sense of something becoming either clearer, stronger, more vibrant. It's becoming truer to us around what really matters at this time in our lives. And you can put this into the bigger perspective of how the world has changed permanently. You can put it into a bigger understanding of the shifts that are happening across multiple areas of life. But this energy feels like we've filtered out a lot. There's been a lot maybe that's come up to your awareness or things you've understood differently, or you've really come to understand more of the purity in your own energy. And with this Cancer energy signature, it is the emotional experiences we have. It's the energy we take in and feel. And this is because Cancer energy is very receptive. It absorbs, it wants to connect, but it really brings things in close to the heart. And it brings it in close to the point of deeply feeling something, even to the point of excess or even feeling too much. And so the energy right now, what it feels like is that there has been this filtering and a clearing out. The water is running clearer. It could even feel that it's quite sparkly. And this is also helping us in getting stronger in ourselves, in our own ability to really recognize who you are. And that's part of the Leo energy, where we understand more of who we are, what we want, what matters to us, what feels good in life, where we're developing a sense of strength and confidence, where we're developing pride in who we are from a healthy place, not an excessive place or an overcompensating place. But this is the energy of the feminine Cancer, the masculine Leo, and how we can navigate between both of these energy fields while maintaining a certain equilibrium, while honoring the strengths of each energy, and knowing that we are capable of feeling a lot and still being grounded and clear, where the emotions don't take over, they don't become too big or overwhelming, which can happen in Cancer season, or whenever there is strong water and fire energy together, because both the elements of water and fire are quite emotional, and they can be big in terms of what is moving through, what's coming up, what's being expressed. And I feel like what we're navigating here is an understanding of how to move into feminine and masculine energies and to maintain a sense of wholeness and acceptance that this can be all of me. This can be all of what I feel or all of what I express or experience. There's this energy rising now that we're really being asked to honor and understand in ourselves, because it feels like this energy is actually quite quiet. It doesn't feel very loud. It doesn't feel like it's too much. It feels like it's manageable. Of course, that's different for every person, but it feels like the energies are about a certain equilibrium, a certain sense of where can I find peace and connect to peace within myself without having to sacrifice or give up part of who I am, without holding back or hiding part of who I am. And this Sun in Cancer, as well as Mercury entering Cancer on July 11th, will bring up the parts of ourselves that we are very much feeling that we don't want to instinctively share. Because this Cancer energy can be very instinctive. It can be very aware of where there are potential vulnerabilities, perceived threats, a sense of danger. It's like it can bring up these things that we're feeling with our spidey senses that we're just tapping into energetically, even if we don't know how to explain it or even how to put the right words around it. That Cancer energy is very instinctual, and that can be at a primal level, where there have been certain things throughout your life that formed your sense of safety, that formed how you felt you could share or where you thought you'd be safe in the world. These are things that we don't always think about. We just sense, or we just have a feeling that this is what I need, this is what is true for me, this is what feels good. And I feel like part of this energy is stretching us open into some new parts of ourselves, to develop more bravery, to have more courage and confidence, to really own these more positive developments and expressions of the Leo energy, so that the softness and the, at times, vulnerabilities of Cancer energy knows that it's always safe. And I feel part of this equilibrium is how the masculine energies within each of us knows how to care for and honor the feminine energies within each of us, and that together there is an interaction here that can be very balanced, and it can be an energy where you know it's okay to be more of yourself. And so just as it feels like the water is starting to run clearer, where there's been a lot filtered out, there's been removals, there have been little, debris and things that have been removed from the water. What is also happening is that there's a rising strength and a rising sense of power in what that feels like now. And it feels, again, like it's about growth. It feels like there's energies showing us more of what we want. And then that Leo energy is, and it's okay to want that. It's okay to need that. It's okay that this is what calls to me, or this is what really makes me feel strong and powerful in myself and in my life. Because there is room at the table for all of it. And it does feel like an opening. It feels like there are energies that are asking us to step into some new parts of ourselves that feel internal. It's sort of like an internal energy that is being opened up and shown to you so that you can potentially see where you've been out of balance or what parts of you have been shut down. Now, the Leo energy, if it's too much in the ego or the unhealthy expressions of Leo, then that can be too much. Whereas with the Cancer energy, if it's too much in its feelings or in the unhealthy expressions of Cancer, that can also be too much, where the emotions are too big or too overwhelming, or there's fears. The Cancer energy can have a lot of fears about the world, fears about people, fears about what it means to take a chance or to take a risk. But when these two energies have a synergy, when the Cancer and the Leo energies are working together, they're able to basically prop each other up. They're able to say, hey, it's okay if some days you're feeling more sensitive or soft, because I know that you're still strong and that there's energies here that are supporting you in this growth. Whereas the Leo energies also need the Cancer energies to soften, to go into being receptive, and to connect with how energy can be received. So this is a very interesting time here, because with the strong Cancer and strong Leo energies, we are gaining strength. I do feel like they connect to the heart. There's an integration of the heart. There's something maybe even opening up or expanding in the heart. There can be new needs revealed, new parts of yourself that are speaking up, coming forward, being heard. And so this is a time to give yourself space to listen, to give yourself space to be in your own energy, because that does relate to allowing the water to run clear, allowing ourselves to filter out external energies and other people's influence or presence, so that you can really hear and listen to what is happening inside of you. Now, this July 9th Cancer new moon is at 18 degrees of Cancer, and it is also about the energies that we're feeling and sensing, and how we can come back to center with trusting ourselves, and how trusting ourselves can be a very quiet experience. It doesn't always shout at us. It isn't always a loud message. This is where we need space and time to listen and receive, so that we can hear what we need. We can hear what we want, and we can hear the messages as they come in. Learning to trust ourselves is basically exercising an ongoing life muscle, where we're continually needing to practice it, and we gain strength by doing so. But this is a time of the internal experience of trusting yourself, where you go to maybe that quiet, peaceful place where it's just you and spirit, or it's just you and your higher self, or maybe you feel a bigger energy presence. But what is coming up is that this energy has gifts for us. This new moon has something it wants to provide and demonstrate. And that's because that Cancer energy can be very giving. It wants to connect. It wants to offer. It wants to provide and, bring you something that'll make you smile, that'll light you up. And I feel like this Cancer new moon is asking us to connect with that energy stream. And you could see it as an energy stream or a channel of energy. It could just be something that you're feeling and sensing. But this is about looking at what are you open to receiving that would feel really good right now. And this can be very small, meaning it doesn't have to be something tangible or something that you hold in your hand. It can be an energy source. It can be something that you're ready to download and receive because it's perfect for you at this time. And for example, I mean that if you simply close your eyes or you're in meditation, you can visualize a certain energy coming in and look at where it's connecting in your body. Is it going to a particular part of your body? Is it going to your whole aura? Is it going to all 7 chakras? Maybe it's going to a certain part of your mind or your heart. It could go to any and all places. But as you receive this energy, it feels like it's meant to nourish us. It's meant to give us more of what we need to feel strong, centered, and safe at this time on the planet. And I feel like this is also very important because Cancer is the opposite sign of Capricorn. And we've been through so many intense Capricorn energies, especially in 2020, that it meant a lot of our energy was going out. A lot of our energy was needing to perform, to do, to make changes, to keep showing up. A lot has had to be figured out. A lot has changed, as we know. So there's been a lot where our energy has been required of us. We've been required to show up, required to honor our commitments. Very intense energy at times, maybe about so many different things in your life that it's even hard to summarize it. But what I feel is important right now about Cancer season is that we're calling energy back into us. We are receiving it from the universe. And that could be one thing that you're also seeing or feeling, that if you felt that you've been worn out, you're exhausted, you're depleted, you're doing so much and giving and doing, and there's a lot that needs to be taken care of. This Cancer new moon, as well as this next week, is a really good time to allow energies to come in to support you. Again, through these visualizations that you can do at any time, any place. They can be for 10 seconds or it can be for 10 minutes or longer. But this is the energy of replenishment, of feeling nurtured, of feeling that you are receiving. Because one thing about the Cancer energies is that it loves to give. It loves to share, provide, and it wants to take care of others. But it can even lead to resentment when the energies are not equal. And that's where you can feel resentment if you're doing too much or you're the one always taking care of things. This is a time to really be honest with yourself about what's coming up and to allow the energies coming in to cleanse, to remove, to purify, and to no longer hold perhaps some of that resentment or something that is in the emotional undercurrent. And it does require being honest with yourself about how you're really feeling. And one of the ways that we can always be pretty honest with ourselves is through family relationships. And Cancer is about the family environment, your home environment, those you live with. So those could be roommates or a spouse, children, parents. It's looking at the people who are in your home environment and what comes up for you regularly that maybe triggers you, annoys you, gets to you, and then you kind of shoo it away or be like, oh, it's not a big deal, or I'm not going to bring this up. But maybe over time it builds up. Maybe over time there's things that continue to develop and grow around the same theme. And the Cancer energy will suppress those feelings because there's a desire to work around it, to go sideways, to not address things directly. But this is an energy of what do you need to understand in yourself, maybe about your own emotional undercurrents? What's happening below the surface that maybe you haven't want to bring up with anyone else, but that it's important to know about yourself or to look at within yourself? Because I feel like what we're being asked to recognize is that even when we have these discomforts, these emotions that come up and they're awkward or they're maybe really big or maybe they're really small, and either way you're like, I don't know how to talk about this or if I should even bring this up if it's such a minor issue. Whatever your internal process may be, it's important to remember there's always a way through it that can be very healthy for us, that can be very strong and supportive of what we need. And oftentimes it can be looking at what needs to shift within us to move through these feelings or to navigate these emotional undercurrents with more wisdom. And Cancer season wants to support us in this part of our growth, wants us to be able to manage and navigate our emotional worlds with more maturity, but also with self-acceptance. A sense of, this is just how I feel, or this is just my emotional process, this is how I move through things, but from a place of responsibility. not from a place of expecting anyone else to be responsible or even for them to know how you're feeling. Again, that Cancer energy can be very hidden, and you can put on a brave face or you can show up in a certain manner and people won't really know what's going on below the surface. But the gift here is really understanding for yourself what's going on below the surface so that you can navigate it while loving yourself, while accepting yourself, while having full ownership over your energy in all ways. And that is the mature expression of Cancer energies, where you're aware of what comes up for you, how you move through situations. Perhaps you're even more aware of your emotional process, such as if something comes up or someone triggers you or a family member is doing something they've just always done, right? It's who they are, it's how they move through life, it's how they communicate, it's their choices. You know this about them, but it's always gotten to you, or you've always been a little bit annoyed or agitated, whatever it might be. What we're learning is how to be more conscious and aware of managing those emotions in a way that also has detachment, where you separate it out, where there's a sense of what's mine, what's not mine, where am I responsible for what I'm feeling, and at what point am I ready to have a conversation about it, or am I ready to let it go? This is also a theme of Cancer season. It can bring up what we have not learned to let go, what we haven't transmuted, what we haven't shifted into another form. This can show us our own repeating cycles. It can show us our emotional wounds. It can show us where we haven't had a new perspective to consider. So we're looking at the internal operations of our emotional world, and there's going to be some opportunities here over the next week to really look at what you can change for yourself, what you're ready to let go of, how you're ready to shift something, how you want to change a process, and how you can do so with more wisdom, more maturity, more responsibility, and this is what will strengthen us. You could have revelations around parts of yourself over this next week and say, wow, I think I want to handle that differently going forward. Or, I could have done that in a different way. I could have said it this way instead of that way. I mean, there is a lot of self-reflection here. There's a sense of what you didn't know previously, or a sense of there is another way to do this, and it was never even in my awareness to challenge it or to think of it differently. And I feel like what we are really supported in is that there are healthy expressions for every type of emotion that we have. And that could be a worthwhile assignment or something that you're inspired to pursue, is what would be the healthiest way to express myself as I go through all of these different feelings or emotions. Now, this will directly relate to your natal moon sign. And that also is a stronger energy signature when the sun voyages through Cancer, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it will correlate to your own natal moon sign and bring up your own emotional needs, how you feel loved, how you feel seen, what you need in order to really understand who you are at an internal place. So this would be a time to be aware of your own emotional experiences and those emotional waves. Again, you would look at your natal moon sign for a deeper understanding of how you receive and respond. And those would be some keywords associated with the natal moon sign. It's how you receive and then how you respond to the environment or the world around you. And this could be more in your thoughts even over the next few weeks, as Mercury will continue through Cancer. And Mercury will trine Jupiter retrograde in Pisces at 1 degree on July 12th. This is an encouraging energy. Then we also have on July 14th, the Sun in Cancer trining Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So we're going to have an amplification of our intuition, of our ability to be receptive and hear what we need to hear. So again, it could be important to have more time and space to yourself so that you can be more receptive. Your energy is open and available to what is ready to come in and be received. There can also be a sense that there is, again, it feels like there's a quiet in the air right now. It feels like there's this peace, this sense of some energies have settled down, like they've just reached this beautiful calm, and it allows us to trust what we hear, to trust what we feel, and to be more open to those messages that are ready to come in. And so I think this Cancer new moon is going to give us an opportunity to receive what we need, to be more open to the higher truths, the higher energy streams, and the higher awareness that we're integrating and that we've really been growing stronger in. It's interesting because I feel like there's this next level that we've arrived at. Perhaps we can really feel that after eclipse season, after 2 Saturn-Uranus squares so far, that there have been shifts within us and around us that are also bringing us back to ourselves. And maybe that's something that you're feeling too, is a homecoming of sorts, coming home to oneself, coming back to oneself. Perhaps after being deeply changed or shifted. The energies we've been in for the past few years have been very big, as we all know, and we've all had our struggles and life changes. We've had challenges and burdens. There's been a lot that's been required of us. And again, I'm feeling like there's a calm right now that is a bit like after a storm, when the sea waters settle down, the sun is rising again, the sky is clear. It feels like that is the energy right now. And I realize this is general, so understandably you could be moving through your own storms right now. But what I feel is that there's something in the collective that has significantly shifted. And I believe it's definitely related to how the energy of light is more present on the planet. The energy of light is quote unquote winning. It is dominating. There's a lot that's been removed and cleared out. There's a lot that has been taken off planet. It's been taken away because of how the light has been so persistent and strong. And we now have an energy of peace. There's a calmness. So I hope that that is something you're able to tap into and feel. I hope that is an energy that you are also experiencing in some way in your life, where you just can tap into a sense of solace, a sense of peace, a sense of allowing your energy systems to relax. And maybe it even feels like floating, that sense of floating on water and just allowing yourself to feel supported and carried. Because there is something right now that we need, and that's part of our energetic balancing. We need to feel the calm, the peace, and the sense that it's okay to exist in this energy without needing to create anxiety or fear about the future or what happens next. And it's about trusting the present moment, which is akin to trusting your ability to breathe, trusting the heart, trusting your lungs. It's this ability to relax into the moment, to trust the flows of life as they're supporting you and allowing that to be okay. Because all too often then, once our systems calm down and relax, the mind will start amping up, or the mind will go into overdrive or want to take you further down the track or in this direction, in that direction. The mind will plan. The mind wants to be on alert. And so what we're also being aware of is where our minds go, where they go out of habit or out of a loop. And again, how to work that into a higher expression, how to rework that. especially when the mind is reacting to an emotional experience. And this is something to be aware of with Mercury in Cancer, is as you're thinking of whatever in your life or in your world, what emotions are coming up that you're feeling and responding to, and then how does that feed back to the mind? It could be a very interesting observation to see in yourself, is how the dialogue unfolds between the emotions or energies and then where the mind goes based on those emotions or energies. And this is again where we can have more mastery, where we can have things in place that support us, that are the healthy expressions or the healthy outlets that remind us to detach, that remind us to step back, and to also be very aware of what the underlying need is. What do I need in this situation? Or what do I need right now in my life, in my heart? What fears are speaking to me? What are the fears that are coming up? What does that fear really need to feel safe? What is that message of fear needing to feel stable and clear? And you can, of course, have so many answers to that type of a question, but it's important to then look at what's underneath the fear that's driving it. Again, going back to the emotional undercurrents. When we're consciously working with these energies of Cancer season, we're able to do a lot of internal work that benefits us and that also changes the energies we experience in our home life, in our personal environment, but then in your internal environment. This is where going to these places in ourselves allows us to see them differently. We address them as adults. We listen to the inner child. We hear what's happening within us, and we're able to proactively respond instead of react and bring up maybe what's been unacknowledged for years. So we're doing an interesting back and forth dance with previous versions of ourselves who are showing up in the present moment. And maybe that's another way to summarize these energies, is that when something comes up, when something is triggered, you can simply ask yourself, is this related to right now in the present, or does this relate to a previous time in my life when I was younger? Does this relate to a previous relationship, a previous situation with someone, and we never grew past it, we never moved through it? Does this energy that's coming up relate to something in my career, in my profession that I've always been afraid about or that I didn't know I could handle? It can bring up a sense of, am I able to do this? Am I able to follow what I want even when there are many unknowns and there's things that are very uncertain? And again, these could be parts of yourself that have traveled with you for most of your life that you haven't examined or met before. These are simply our unconscious energies that when we're ready, they show up. When we're ready to work through them and see them accurately, then we know it's right on time. Right on time. So also be very kind and gentle to yourself if you're thinking, why didn't I do this earlier? Why didn't I see this earlier? That Cancer energy, it will go into the past and say, well, why didn't I see it then? Or why didn't I know how to handle it then? And it looks in the rear view mirror too much. When there are these deeper questions and deeper inquiries that come up. So it's interesting where we do need to stay in the present, which the Leo energy is going to help us with, especially that Mars in Leo and the Venus in Leo that bring us into what's happening right now and what you can do about it. And so that can help you understand, okay, this is what I went through, or this is what I was feeling, or this is what I've been through with my family, or in relationships, or with my friendships, or siblings, or any area of your life that's been personal to you. That's a Cancer energy, is it feels personal. And now this Leo energy is giving you a healthy sense of self around what you're going to create from it, what you're going to do next, what is really true, what's really strong. And it helps to balance out, again, those soft, caring places of Cancer so that they don't go into excess. They don't stay in the past. Cancer can be about regret. It's regrets of our lives or regrets of something we didn't do last week. It can be big regrets, small regrets, because the energy is going into a previous version of yourself, a previous level of consciousness, and it isn't accepting who you were or what you knew or what you thought was best. It could even be that some of these regrets are tied to things that we did know but we didn't trust, such as your intuition or your feelings, or if there was something that you really knew it was true for you but you didn't trust the message, then the regret shows you where you weren't trusting yourself. And again, we're working with these personal internal energies here. So now there's an opportunity in the present to trust yourself in a new way, to trust yourself more, because you've seen that when you don't trust yourself, it can create regret. But when you do trust yourself, it's like it lights up your energy. It gives you a sense of, this is who I am. I know this is right for me. I know this is true for me. And those really help bring out more of that self-love and self-acceptance that's of a higher vibration. So this is a week where we could be going into past versions of ourselves, former emotional experiences or triggers, and then the Leo energy is going to bring us into a sense of self that reminds us that you're here now. What are you choosing now that's right for you, that's correct for you, that gives you confidence in yourself? So know that this could be a wonderful way to work with the Cancer new moon, that you're clearing out some parts of yourself or some parts of your energy that maybe have been stuck in the past, stuck in what happened, what didn't happen, stuck in what you experienced and you didn't know how to move through it, or anything that hasn't been emotionally released. This is the time for it to do so. Again, it's that water running clearer, the filtering out, the river having more vibrant flows, clearer water, because so much has been cleared out and filtered out. So give yourself that time and space over this next week. Be very aware of what's coming up for you. Be very kind and gentle with yourself, because there is no use in making yourself your own worst enemy. And it's more important to know that all of your power is still in the present moment and that it's right here with you, traveling with you. And that is energy you can absolutely trust in yourself. You could even start to feel a lightness, a freedom, a sense of openness, because the more you trust yourself, the more you're trusting life, and you're trusting that you're supported even when you can't see it, and you're trusting that the universe is benevolent, that there's a lot here happening that is for your best and highest good. And there are times that we can really claim that deeply. And I hope that you're feeling that at some level of your being as we journey through July. And on that note, you can check out the July 2021 Soul Growth Monthly Astrology Program that has 5 webinars in it. That's available now. It's a really wonderful way to follow the energies in your own natal astrology chart to see where the new moon's happening, where the full moon is happening, as well as the bigger transits for the month. So please check that out. You can use coupon code JULY to get the full program for only $11. And I'm so delighted that so many of you are enjoying the new solar return program that I just released that's about learning to read your solar return chart. And I guide you through 9 steps, 9 ways to interpret your solar return chart, the significance of the energies, what to look for, what to be aware of. And this is designed to help you be your own astrologer for yourself, to learn what it means to read your chart, to interpret it more to understand the energy signatures. I think that the solar return chart is always a fascinating window into your year ahead. It gives you an understanding of the themes of your next birth date year and where you're going to be growing, where the changes are, all that. It gives you a really good heads up. And it's a wonderful way to just be in alignment with yourself as well. So that is still on sale. It's still 50% off when you use coupon code BIRTHDAY. And it is more intermediate, meaning you do need to have the basics of astrology down because you're going to be doing more interpreting and connecting the dots for yourself. So check that out below the podcast episode here. Otherwise, I wish you a beautiful Cancer new moon. I hope that it really opens you up to more of what you need at this time. It is a receptive energy. It's a loving, nurturing energy. And however that feels for you, I hope that you're really in tune with the unlimited potentials that are happening and unfolding, as well as how you're supported each step of the way. So thank you so much for joining me as always. Oh, and just a quick update. There was no Monday show. So there was no Monday, July 5th episode, but I will be back next Monday for our next show. And I hope that you have a beautiful Cancer new moon ahead. Take good care. You can find out more about me over at mollymccord.online. And I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Thank you so much, and I will see you back here very soon.